Now that we've gone over invoice rate sheets and how to set those up, the next step in setting up your accounting management process is to apply them. So we do that by going to the invoice application rules. Because the rate sheets are generalized and not tied to any specific customer, you need to go ahead into the invoice application rules where you can determine the conditions of when to apply that rate sheet. So this includes the ability to have cascading priorities where you can have special rates that override any default rates, as well as putting in time frames so that you can preload in if you know that your rates are going to change in the near future. You can go ahead and preload in the new rates and have the date for them to switch over from your old rates to your new rates so that you never miss a beat with that. And by separating these out, it makes it so that the invoice rate sheets, which have a lot of configuration, it makes them extremely reusable between customers and in different conditions. And most of the heavy lifting in determining when to apply them is in this kind of slimmer management system. So we're going to go ahead and create a new application rule. We've got a few pre-built in here that we can look at as well. But in order to create a new one, click on the green Create button up here at the top. And in here, we have to specify which rate sheet we are applying to the set of circumstances. So I'm going to go ahead and use the test rate sheet that we previously made. We don't have to include any notes. And I'm going to set the effective date range to be from December 1st, 2020. And we'll go ahead and put it at midnight, just so it's clean. And we'll have it end on, let's say, March 31st at midnight. And if the rates are not going to change for a long time, you can throw this out several years and not worry about it. And then when the time comes, you can come back and kind of fix it if you do get new rates. So that's one strategy to use there. We're going to base this off of a received timestamp or when it was offloaded. The application rule part here, this is the application rule type is the priority in which this stacks against other application rules that you may have. So if I click on here, we have several different levels of priority, 5 right now. The first one would be a route. So this is if you have a specific pickup and drop off combination that has special rates, you can go ahead and have that. And even if you have multiple application rules that may apply, this one will always take priority. That's followed up by having a specific pickup location, drop off location, or if you have a producer that is operating several pickup locations, if you have a special deal with them. Or the lowest priority here is just to base it off of one of your purchaser's regions. So we're going to go ahead and do that one. And we're going to say that we are just creating this for our test purchaser. And the region is region 1. If they had multiple regions, we could apply it to several different regions. The next step here is saying what commodity types the application rule or this rate sheet is going to be used for. Because different things like dirt or sand or something like that are going to have completely different measurements in different systems. From oil, for example, then you'll probably need different rates, not to mention they're going to pay out differently. But in this case, I built one for oil, so we're going to say it's based off of gauged and metered oil. Go ahead and click Save, and we just created an application rule for our rate sheet that we just made. A couple more things to note with application rules for our invoice rate sheets. If you click on this 3-dot menu, you are given a few different options here. So the edit will just open up the same window as create, where you can go ahead and change the dates or change the cargo or change some of the settings on that. The download associated rate sheet will download that same PDF tied to it. So this is that rates that we previously showed in a different video. So you can download that directly from here, and as well as deleting it. Now this is pretty dangerous to do if this is on live production data. So you don't want to do this unless you for sure know that you're not using that and you have a replacement in place. Otherwise you may have a bunch of invoice errors on the different loads that you're performing. And the last thing in here is the Explore Applications Rule button, which if you come into here, this makes it pretty easy to go ahead and see how your different tickets are being applied or how the different loads are being applied to rate sheets. So in here you can see all of your different purchasers with their recent loads or tickets that have been done, and you can see where they are falling on this priority scale. So in this case, all of the test data I have in here, these are falling on this region 5 priority, and there don't seem to be any test tickets for this specific purchaser in this case. But if you're able to come into here, you could go ahead and click on the View Rate Application Rules, and you can see the different rate sheets and the date ranges and all of the different configurations we used in here, and see how the tickets are being applied. This is very helpful if you accidentally create duplicates where the times overlap, to see where those errors may be occurring and go and rectify those. So, and this will just pull tickets for the last 28 days, since that seems to be the time frame when you're trying to troubleshoot these sorts of issues, since you catch it pretty quickly. And that is the Invoice application rules part of accounting management.